Hey everyone, exciting news. We've officially launched the Paranoid Perspective Patreon. If you love what we do, unpacking conspiracies, chasing mysteries, and laughing through the weirdness, now you can support the show and get more of it.
So, for as little as $5 a month, you will get exclusive access and extra perks to the episode. Sarah, what do we get with tier one?
So, tier one is the Curious Minds, and you get a shout out at the end of every episode.
Next tier, this is what you guys really probably want, ad free episodes. We don't need those pesky ads that you guys are getting on Spotify, Apple, whatever else. You will get all episodes ad free, along with what else, Sarah?
You also get it ahead of time. So before the episode releases for that week, it'll be available for you to watch or listen.
So, if you guys are interested, check in the show notes down below, or you can head to patreon.com/ the Paranoid Perspective Podcast. Welcome back to the Paranoid Perspective. I am Jake.
I'm Sarah.
So, we've been talking about some out there stuff here lately, Sarah. So, I think it's time for
Yeah.
us to get a little bit more grounded. Some real world applications of things. Not that,
Right.
if you super believe in, the Men in Black or giants in Afghanistan or stuff like that, or even like the woo-ness of your crazy dreams.
Yeah.
What are
And
we?
they're real.
Well, to you, yes, you are 100% correct. They are
Yes.
real to you. But what are we talking about today, Sarah?
So we're going to talk about the Dermond case. So Russell and Shirley Dermond were murdered in their home, and it was pretty gruesome and surprising. So we're going to get into that. Have you heard of this?
I have
Or you
not.
just
So
looked at Okay.
no, I have not, and I'm gonna be real honest. I was kind of one of those that when you talked about it last week, I told myself that I was gonna be, kind of blissfully ignorant about this because I really do like not like
Yeah.
knowing a whole lot going into it. I mean, you touched on it very briefly last week, but yeah, listeners, full transparency. When before we started recording today, I text Sarah and said, "Hey, what are we talking about again?"
Yeah.
That's how ignorant I am to this subject. So
Yeah. Okay, well, it's crazy. So let's get into it. First, I wanted to do a little bit of a bio for
okay,
them. So Russell grew up in Hackensack, New Jersey,
that's such an
and
awesome
he's,
city name.
yeah, I've never heard of it before. And he served in the U.S. Navy during World War II.
Who? Yeah.
So, yeah. And then he and Shirley were married on December 15th, 1950. I don't really know how they met, but they lived in New Jersey for a while and then they ended up moving to Georgia and they had 4 children and then they had, 9 grandchildren later on.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Everybody
Well,
getting
that's what
busy.
happens when you have 4 kids. I
Yeah.
guess. But yeah, and then they lived kind of by a lake at first, at Lake Oconee, which is a pretty big lake, I think. But every year, their grandchildren would go there for summer camp and then spend time with them down there. And they ended up owning Wendy's and Hardee's franchises in Atlanta,
Hey,
up to the late 90s.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so they were able to retire with that.
Yeah.
So in 1994, they purchased property in this gated community called Great Waters Reynolds at Lake Oconee. And it's about 12 miles northeast of Eatonton, I guess. Eatonton,
Eaton.
Georgia. Yeah,
It's like when you say edited.
right, yeah. Eatonton, yeah, I don't know. But they ended up retiring, late 90s and was living there at this point. And their house was waterfront property. They had a dock right there as well. And it was on about an acre of land, and it had 5.5 bathrooms, 6 bedrooms, and it was 5,300 square feet.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Talk
didn't
about
know
a
it was
freaking
that big.
talk about a place to settle down and retire at. My God.
Yeah. Plenty
Oh,
of room for the 9 grandchildren.
well, that's what I was about to say. I guess they had to have a place with all the family events they were going to have.
Yeah. But I did look up the house through real estate information, and it said the house was built in 1999. but it's
Okay.
everything I saw, they bought it like the property in 1994, so I guess maybe it took that long to build. I'm not really sure why it's
I mean, it sounds like a pretty expansive place just based off the square footage and the amount of rooms. So it could have been. Yeah.
yeah. So this murder happened in 2014. So by then they were in their
Wow.
late 80s. Yeah. They had been living there, what, 20 years at that point?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So a little crazy. And yeah, I think Russell was 88 and Shirley was 87. So on May 3rd, they were supposed to show up to a friend's house in the neighborhood for a Kentucky Derby party. And they would never miss that. And they did. They didn't show up. So I don't know. Sorry, I was distracted. But
You're fine.
yeah, so they didn't end up showing up, so that was very unusual. And then the next day was Sunday, and they were big churchgoers, and they didn't show up to that either. So then now people are concerned, like, where are they?
So yeah, we didn't show up for the party Saturday night, and we're not coming to repent for our sins on Saturday night. So,
Right, yeah. So what's happening? And I feel like they would tell people if they went out of town, and stuff. So they were supposed to be at the parties.
well, living at a gated community for 20 years, they probably
Yeah,
know almost everyone, or everyone knows them to some extent,
right.
you know.
Yeah. Probably. So a couple ended up going to their house to checking on them on the 6th. So, a couple days later still. So they showed up at 10 a.m. and they saw there were 2 days worth of papers on the driveway, like newspapers, which Shirley loves doing the crossword puzzle. So she wouldn't leave those out there either. So that was weird. And then they tried the doorknob and it was unlocked. So they did go in to, investigate, look for them. I'm sure they were thinking like maybe they got sick, maybe they fell, medical emergency. I mean, they're late
Sure,
80s.
sure. But that's still
So,
breaking and entering.
yeah,
I'm
but
just
they're
saying.
concerned. So, well, it's unlocked. I guess it's entering, it's not breaking. Is it?
I think it still is. I could be wrong. I'm kind of ignorant
Well,
to a lot of things.
probably depends on the state too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so what they found was Russell's body in the garage with no head.
Shit.
Yeah. So he had been decapitated and he was lying on his back in a pool of blood and he was between the two cars that they owned. So I don't know
Okay.
how big that doesn't seem like that much space.
Well, they do have a quite a large house, so I'm assuming the garage is probably pretty good size too. It's not like, my garage where would struggle to fit two cars in.
Well, I think it's a two-car garage. It has just two doors for the garage.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So I don't know. And Shirley was not there at all. So
Not in the house at all?
she was not in the house at all. So they called 911, of course, and the police
As
came
one
out.
does when you find a decapitated person.
Yeah, I'm sure that was shocking.
Dude, I couldn't
And
imagine.
I know, yeah. So the police came and they looked over the whole house, and it didn't seem like anything had been taken at all. So, except for Russell's head.
Yep.
Well, so he had like his laptop out, she has jewelry, like literally nothing was touched or taken, and the whole house like looked immaculate. Like if you just walked through the house, you wouldn't know that anything had happened. It was just when you like got to the garage and saw that he was dead. So that was crazy. As if I was there. I don't know.
Well, to be fair to your point, that it would appear that the motive would be to kill him. Because
Right.
if nothing is missing, if nothing is in a disarray, the primary point of going there, whoever the individual was to murder those two individuals.
Right. That seems like it. Yeah, and I mean they could not I mean his head was nowhere in the house. They didn't find it anywhere. So these people had taken his head. And there was blood splatter like on his shirt that indicated he had been shot in the head first, and then they
Interesting.
decapitated him, I guess. So he was probably already dead.
Hmm.
So why even decapitate him at that point?
Well, people that be doing crazy things be taking crazy trophies. So
Yeah, that's true. He also had an injury on his finger. It was like a gash, I guess, and his hand. And they found some of Shirley's hair, like stuck to the blood on his hand. So it seemed like there had been some kind of
But
fight.
yeah, a bit of a struggle.
Yeah. But then later, his finger, at least, his daughter said it was an old injury from World War II, but his hand was still, something with his hand was still injured.
Well, I was about to say, how would they say that his hand was injured if it was a injury from World War II? It would be a scar. It wouldn't be like a when I
Yeah, I don't
when
know
I
what.
yeah, because when I hear police say like coroner's reports and stuff like that, where it's like you see injuries, it's like you're not going to say, oh well, when he was 9, he broke his leg. Well, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Yeah,
you're
I'm
gonna.
not really sure. Maybe because there was just blood and it looked like
Yeah, I
maybe
guess
like
that could be.
tissue missing, so they didn't know. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
they
fair.
didn't know it was old. So there were no signs of forced entry at all. So that's also weird.
Well,
And
they did leave their
towels.
door unlocked. Clearly.
Well, yeah, right. So I guess they just walked in, whoever these people were, or they let them in if maybe they knew them or something. But
Hmm.
so towels had been wedged in the crack of the garage door, so that would block like his blood from flowing out down the driveway.
Uh,
So they did that. Police also saw there was a table lamp that had been moved from the inside to the garage, like on top of one of the cars with the shade removed. Some people think they needed the light to decapitate him, I guess.
or to
I don't know.
possibly interrogate him to some extent.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's a little weird.
Well, they
There
took
was
his
also,
fucking head, so I mean,
yeah, weird's off the table or whatever. The weird's the least of it.
yeah.
There was also a round empty space in a pool of blood in the garage, and they're not sure like what had been there and like taken.
So like
I
a
was,
like a can or something like
I don't
shaped.
know how big,
Mm.
because I was almost like, was that his head? But no, there'd be more blood and stuff. It wouldn't just be,
Yeah, there wouldn't be like a bare spot. Like it'd have to be
yeah,
like something actually sitting on the ground that had like a lipped edge that would prevent it from going under or something. You know what I mean?
right. Okay, so yeah, I don't know what that was. Well, they don't know. No one knows what that was, but something was taken that I guess the killer had brought themselves because nothing was missing. So,
Well, they might have been fans of like Coca-Cola and just needed something refreshing, and that's where they put it down.
yeah, they don't say how big it is. For some reason, I was thinking it was like a frisbee size, but I mean, it could be a can size. They don't say, or paint can. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Ugh, I should have talked to the police to figure out how big that.
Call him, Sarah.
Yeah. So, because there was a lack of blood splatter, the police weren't really sure like Russell had even been murdered inside the home. Like they're thinking he was murdered somewhere else and then moved to the garage.
Yeah, because I was gonna say if they believe that he was shot in the head, depending on
Yeah.
where you're shot, like if there's enough splatter to be on his shirt, there would definitely be evidence of where he was shot in the house.
Right.
For sure.
So, and there's nothing. There was also blood on the bottom of his feet, but there weren't any like bloody footprints or anything in the house either.
Mm.
But there was a trail of blood like from the garage door to the spot where he was left, so it indicated he had been dragged, maybe after he was decapitated.
Well, so that's what I was about to ask. There had to have been, if he wasn't killed there, there had to have been some sort of sign that he was moved there.
Yeah. Well, just that in the garage. So not sure how they moved him into the house to the garage.
Yeah, okay. So literally just the trail from where he was dragged in the garage to where he was decapitated at.
Left.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, so that's a little weird. So the autopsy report said the decapitation had been done in like one clean cut, but the sheriff said that it wasn't the skill of a surgeon and whoever did it took their time to do it. So it was a little bit of like conflicting opinions.
Well, I don't think, I mean, I know we've seen like Hollywood movies and stuff like that. It's not that easy to remove something like that from someone. There's
Yeah.
going to be sawing, there's going to be breaking, there's going to be like trauma to the surrounding area. Like having it, I would be kind of in disbelief that the coroner believed it was in one clean cut. Like, I mean, yeah, it's not impossible, but I mean, they
Yeah.
also, unless you had some dude with a fucking guillotine or like a sword that had enough leverage or like big axe or something, you know what I mean? But then there would be evidence of
Yeah.
strikes. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a little weird. But I mean, someone strong, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
So at that point, Shirley wasn't in the house, so she's missing. And some people at first thought that she had killed Russell because the police hadn't released that he was decapitated, just that he was dead and she was missing. But kind of once, yeah, you assume that but yeah, once they said, he was decapitated, then everyone's like, there's no way she could have done that. I
Yeah.
guess strength wise, I don't know. She's 87.
Well, but I mean, if the sheriff said that it was someone that took their time and it's not actually a clean cut, you know,
Right.
you could.
Yeah, I guess maybe she could. But there was also wooded area like around their house. So other people thought maybe she was able to escape and was like lost in that wooded area.
Well,
So people started looking for her.
fair, but this is off of the timeline we're looking at right now. So they were supposed to go to a party on the 3rd. They didn't find them till
Yeah,
the 6th,
right.
right? So assuming it happened on the 3rd and not before, she'd been out in the woods for 3 days. You know what I
I don't
mean?
know. Some people, yeah, they just
Like,
thought maybe she was able to escape, I guess.
well, maybe able to escape, but I mean, you still would be looking for her, dead. She wouldn't
Yeah.
be alive at that point.
Yeah. So the family had postponed Russell's funeral until they could find Shirley. So they
Well,
waited for
yeah,
that.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And by the 14th, the FBI was offering a $20,000 reward for any information like leading to finding Shirley because she was still missing by then.
Yeah, so you're looking at almost 2 weeks or like a week and a half of investigating and still
Yeah.
nothing at all? That's wild.
Yeah. Like they have, three sons and a daughter. So one of their sons had said that he hoped, or it would be better if she was at peace than to have lived through all of this at that point.
For
But
sure.
it's a little weird, yeah, a little weird he would say that,
But
but I
it
guess
is weird that he
like
would say that.
publicly,
You would
yeah,
you'd probably even if you thought that, you'd probably just wanna stick to, "Man, I hope we find my mother."
yeah, yeah.
You
It's
know what I
just
mean?
weird he said it in public, I
Yeah.
guess, but
Keep your listeners, keep your mouth shut if you're ever in a situation like this. Short, sweet, and to the point.
yeah. So on May 16th, she was found in Lake Oconee, about six
Oh,
miles
okay.
away from their house.
Okay, so that's what I was about to ask. I was assuming the lake, but 6 miles away
Mm,
from the lake, that's not what I was thinking it was gonna be like, she fell off the dock or something and they found her.
no,
Maybe
nope.
drifted
She
a little
was,
bit, but
yeah, yeah, 6 miles away at a different like dock down wherever else, 6 miles away. But a fisherman had found her floating there, so he called 911. And there was a rope, like a paracord, tied around her legs, and that was tied to two red cinder blocks, which each weighed 30 pounds. So, like, they had just dumped
holy
her.
fuck.
Yeah. So they had just dumped her in the water and hoped that she wouldn't, like, come back up, I guess.
Well, yeah. So, okay, that makes sense why they couldn't find her, so they probably dumped her pretty deep out towards the
Yeah.
center, and just from, decay and whatnot, those ropes probably get if they're really thin, if it is paracord, it's very, very thin nylon rope, it wouldn't be hard for your foot to slip out of it after, you've been dead for a week, almost 2 weeks now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I did read that that part of the lake is part of the deepest part, so they were trying to like just dump her there. And they found the cause of death was blunt force trauma with something
Okay.
like a hammer. And she had definitely been killed before she had been thrown into the
So
water.
that's what I was about to say. I was really hoping that it wasn't one of those like, nope, we're just gonna keep you alive and drag you out here and send you on your way. So at least there's a little bit of solace knowing that she was dead before they disposed of her.
Yeah. That's a little weird. Like, why did they kill her totally differently than Russell? Like, if he was shot and she was hit with a hammer and then she was thrown in the lake and he was decapitated in the garage, like, it's so weird.
Well, without knowing anything about this, I would assume the primary target was probably Russell because it seems very
Yeah,
personal to be
right.
able, you know what I mean? And as far as his wife goes, I think it was one of those that once you commit an act like that, I mean, your adrenaline's got to be going through the roof. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what's the best way? And obviously, the people that did this knew the area. So what are we gonna do with her? We can't just leave her here. Well, it's just, hey, I know this spot out, you know, down the road where it's the deepest part. We can get to it from here. You know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so the boat ramp that was by where she was, it's about a 20-minute drive from their home.
Oh yeah, that's nothing at all.
Yeah, but investigators do believe that she was taken there by boat, like off of their dock.
Okay, yeah. Well, I was gonna say that that would probably make a little bit more sense because I feel like there's less ways to track who came from where from the water. You know what I mean? If you pulled up in their driveway, one, how did you get into the gated community? Somebody saw you get through the gate, most likely.
Right.
You have to have some sort of key code or card to get in there. And then on top of that, if you were able to bypass all of that stuff without anybody seeing you or doing whatever, they're going to know what kind of at least tires you have based off of the
Mm,
marks that you I mean this was so
yeah.
recent that it's like it's really hard to get away with something like this just because every little detail is one either documented or they can track like, oh yeah, this is a Goodyear tire that was bought from you know, Joe's Tire Barn on the 15th of October last year. Who bought this? Boom, you're caught. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's crazy that they're not caught still.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now that they were both found, the police were working on finding like the window of time that this attack
Mhm.
would have happened. So it was confirmed that Russell was seen in public on the 1st. He was shopping at a Publix grocery store at 2:26 p.m. And then before dinner that night, they talked on the phone with their son, Brad. And then on May 2nd, a witness recalled seeing Russell out on his daily morning walk on like the golf course nearby. And at 4:30 p.m. is when their mail's delivered. And like I said, Shirley loves doing the crossword, and they had seen that the May 2nd paper crossword had been started. So they're probably still alive on the 2nd. And
So yeah,
then,
it's
yeah,
more than likely it was the third then
yeah.
when it actually happened.
Right. And they did have an alarm system, which their kids like thought, they usually lock their doors at night and set the alarm for night. So it seemed like nighttime they were fine into the 3rd. And the party was at 4 p.m. on the 3rd. So it seemed to happen either early afternoon or morning on the 3rd. And Russell was found wearing a robe, slippers, striped shorts, and a t-shirt. So, he usually wore his PJs for pretty long during the day and drank his coffee and had a slow morning. So
As
it
one
was
does when
probably in
you're
the
retired.
morning. Yeah. So it was probably more in the morning because when they found Shirley, like she was known to get up earlier and she was wearing clothing that she was probably going to wear to the party. So, and their bed was still unmade too. So it was probably not afternoon. Like it was probably close to
Mhm.
morning. I don't know when they get up or when they deactivate the alarm or like unlock the doors, but that's probably when it happened. And the Saturday and Sunday newspapers were left, so they hadn't gotten the Saturday one yet in time.
Mhm.
Which I guess that if it comes later, that would have been during the party maybe, but
Well, and it probably would come later on a Saturday.
yeah.
It's not gonna
Well,
be
yeah,
delivered, you know.
right. So yeah, probably the morning or like before noon, I would say. But A neighbor did recall seeing a man in their yard on the 3rd, but the neighbor was like so far away, I guess, like they couldn't tell if it was Russell or someone else. So
Well,
that was kind of a bummer.
I was about to say, I think if I'm imagining where they're living correctly, that it is probably a relatively spaced out like property. You said they live on an acre of waterfront property, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a picture if you want.
Well, an acre's not huge, but it's big enough to where if someone, I'm assuming there are probably older people living in this area, that seeing that far away might be challenging, and just seeing a silhouette of someone, you would just assume that it's your neighbor.
Yeah, and it's like I said, they're surrounded by trees too,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, this community is kind of weird because the community map, it's like here's a section of it, and then here's like two more sections that are like totally like it's around the lake, but it's like
Hmm.
if you want to drive from one section to the other, you have to like drive around like out of the community and back in.
That's
So
weird.
it's like weird. Yeah. Yeah, because I saw like this gated community is supposed to have like 3 or 4 gates into it, but the section that the Dermonds were in, there's just one gate, like in and out, and like one main road.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well,
and they have
that
posted guards there too.
so that's what I was about to say. It more so confirms what I was thinking, if they did come from the water then. Because if there's,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you wouldn't, unless it's one of the neighbors that the guards knew, that wouldn't even pay any mind. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah, it could be someone from inside the community, someone who lived there. Or it's, yeah, they came from the water. I think those are the two big ones. But yeah, the community, because I looked it up for like currently now, I guess it says the population is 306. I don't know if that is how it was, 10 years ago or whatever, but
Well, I'm sure it's probably relatively close to about the same.
yeah. And I was thinking it was like a retirement community, but it says that the ages range from 25 to 64,
Okay,
which I
so
mean,
it's
they were like 80s, so I don't know how it's.
well, it's more of, it's probably just a very upscale private neighborhood.
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
really what I'm getting out of this.
Yeah. So there were younger people there that could have, I don't know, had a motive maybe or something. Because
Trying
I
to
feel
get
like
that franchise money, man.
maybe, yeah. But everyone said the Dermonds were really well liked and they lived a quiet life there. Like there's not really a motive of like someone within the community, like, oh, they always beefed with this person. Like there's none of that. So
Yeah,
it's
see, well, that's the thing I was gonna say. I don't know. I could probably count on like one hand, like someone that's retired that is in a shitty mood all the time. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like most people that are of that age and are done working, like they're not mean people. They just, like you said, they want to wake up, sit and hang out for a little bit, go to some parties, and then call it good. You know, they're not trying
Yeah.
to get in anybody's business, ruffle any feathers. So that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. So it's a little weird, like where's the motive? I also had thought because it said they had a wooded area, and so I was thinking, could someone come through the woods, like outside of the community? But looking at like where they lived on the map, like that's not really a possibility.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to see the map.
Yeah, let's look at it. I like looking at maps.
Okay. All right. Let's share my screen. Every time I want the window. This one. Okay. Share. You see it? Okay.
I
Yeah,
got
this
it.
is their area. So they're just like kind of a peninsula, and it's just that
Hmm.
one road, main road in. But they were living kind of over here at the top. Like
Okay.
they're more
So,
surrounded by water.
yeah. So, listeners that might not be
Yeah.
watching this, you should head over to YouTube and check out this awesome content that Sarah's provided. But what it looks like is this community, it has like two or three peninsulas off to the, what would that be, northwest of it, where
Mm.
you could access the lake. You know what I mean? So that even gives me more of a thought, like it would be too easy to hop over from one of those, go across the lake and get wherever you
Yeah.
need to get. You know what I mean? You wouldn't have to use
Right.
that main road, because that road
No.
is ridiculously long that you'd have to go
Yeah, it
to.
is.
And that's the only way in or out. If I was planning anything to get into that sort of area, the road would be the emergency way to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, the water's just so accessible and they were waterfront. I was thinking, if they were on the south side, there is a lot of trees there, and I think you could go in outside of the community, but they weren't down there. They're more on the north side.
Yeah, I mean, but regardless, like listeners, you got stuff off to the northwest, you got stuff off to the southeast, and I'm sure if you zoom this out, you probably have stuff off to the northeast as well where you could easily
Yeah.
access this.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Yeah. So I think it was by the water, but I mean, they don't know. They can't say. But the fact that they weren't seen at the gate,
yeah. Yeah.
unless it was someone who lived there. But also, apparently, at that time, the cameras at the gates were not working because
How
it had a,
convenient. Why is
yeah,
it every damn time there's anything that happens, these fucking cameras don't work?
I don't know. It was a recent electrical issue, like in the whole
Huh?
area.
Huh? Yeah. It's what you
So,
always fucking hear.
so they could have come through the gate and they wouldn't have been caught on camera.
They they could have. They could have.
But they
That
would have still been
seen
a
by the guards.
guard.
They would have
Yeah.
been, or cameras aren't working, guards sleeping. There you go.
Yep,
That's
maybe.
the answer to the man. I hate it.
Possibly.
I hate it. Whenever I find out something super duper interesting and then I hear dumb shit like that where, oh yeah, well the cameras
Yeah.
weren't working today. It's like of all days, of all the
Right.
days, this is not one, man.
Yeah, the cameras had stopped working on April 28th. So it was less than a week before.
Mm,
So that's crazy. But how many people really knew that? Like if they did come through the gate, like they had to have been really lucky. Like they wouldn't have known the cameras weren't working, or maybe they didn't
that's
know cameras were there. But like,
well, that's true. That's fair. I don't
yeah,
think you would pay attention to the cameras anyway. You would either know they're
right.
there or you wouldn't know they're there. But I still stand by like knowing there's only one way in or out of there. That's not the best way to go.
Yeah, the water you can go literally anywhere.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. The sheriff has said he thought a car would be involved, but then they definitely think Shirley was dumped by a boat. So it's like, why not just arrive by boat then? Like, why is he thinking there was a car? But he doesn't really know. It could
Yeah.
be either or both or whatever. And it could be multiple people or one or someone could have driven and someone could have a boat.
Well, based off of the grisly nature of it, I would bet it was not one person.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, and
it wouldn't be easy to do all of that by yourself.
yeah. And it could explain why maybe they were killed differently and stuff
Right.
too.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I should have kept sharing my screen. I want to share one thing about the lake because
Okay.
this lake is massive. I mean, it just supports your theory. This is the map of the lake.
Holy fuck.
And it connects to the Oconee National Forest at the north. And then it
Hmm.
can go all the way down. And then, like, that little red circle is where they were living.
Yeah.
But it could be literally like anywhere.
Yeah, listeners, this lake is big. We'll have some stuff on social media, I'm sure, to support,
Yeah.
showing some stuff like this. But yeah, that is massive. What is the is there a scale or legend for this by any chance?
I'd have to zoom in a lot. The legend, it might be blurry because it was such a big
That's
picture.
fine. It's big as shit. There we go. We'll
Scale
use that.
is 1 to 40,000
Okay, so no, okay.
miles.
No, no, no. So the grid's good now. So those grids that are in there are usually about 1,000 square meters.
Oh, okay.
So
Meters, all right.
yeah, you're looking at a massive, massive
Yeah, it has
water access
21.
point. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're looking
Yeah,
at
it's
what
crazy.
21
Yeah,
twenty-one
21.
thousand yeah 21,000 square meters. Yeah,
Right. From top
yeah,
to bottom. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and just that it connects to the national forest too, and there's a couple obviously different towns and everything, so
Oh,
it's
there's a bunch of
crazy.
offshoots going everywhere. So, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, it could be from,
right.
I highly doubt they would be coming all the way from the national forest, but
No, yeah.
there are
There's plenty
plenty
of
of,
access points, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking because there was a another lake below it, but
Mhm.
there's a dam, so you can't really connect there. Because I was thinking like it was even bigger.
I bet you could because the cameras aren't working.
Well, you can't really drive a
I'm
boat
just,
over
it's,
it. That would be fun. I guess some
you could drive
did.
it, you can drive it one way over a dam.
Yeah,
Usually hard to come
but
back the other way, but you know,
yeah, yeah, they probably had a different escape plan. Okay, so here's just kind of the theories
okay, let's hear them.
then of who did this. So first one is this was just random. Their door was unlocked. Someone was just driving by on their boat and killed them.
Fuck no. Fuck
Right.
no. There is no way that someone was just cruising on this lake and being like, you know what I feel like doing today? Cutting somebody's head
Yeah.
off. Let's find a random
And
house. Nope.
and in broad daylight, like,
Yeah. No.
yeah. Okay. So another theory is that it was a robbery gone wrong,
I could buy that.
but they didn't take anything
Well,
except his head. Is that worth anything?
trying to get that knowledge, man. Anyway,
That is yeah.
no, like in all honesty, like if it was, I could see it only because if you had like, I don't know, two or three guys and one of them accidentally, like, like you said that she was bludgeoned to death, right?
Yeah.
One of them accidentally hits her on the head too hard. She falls over. They see she's dead. Everybody freaks
Mhm.
out. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't quite explain the decapitation part because that feels real personal, and I don't think you would just
Right.
do that if it was just a random guy.
Yeah. You'd want to get out of there.
But that
Like,
would
you wouldn't
explain,
take the time.
yeah, that would explain why nothing was taken. It could have just been like, hey, we're gonna go rob these old people, but oops, we hit her too hard. Now what do we do?
And then they shoot him?
Or maybe you had somebody that was trigger happy. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't buy it, but
Yeah.
that's just how I would try to justify it in my mind, I suppose.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, since they were killed, I guess if you're bludgeoned, I would assume there's still blood splatter. Like they didn't find any blood, so it would have
Not
had to happen.
necessarily.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you hit somebody with a blunt object super hard in the head, you could kill them without any like splatter from, their
Hmm.
a wound on their head.
Okay.
So,
Because Russell at least would have had to be shot like outside or something,
for sure.
since there was nothing inside. But I don't know. I was thinking like if they accidentally kill someone, well, the decapitation you're not gonna do if you're freaked out and you just accidentally killed someone. But I still feel like you'd grab something on your way out.
It might be if it was like a robbery gone wrong. I don't think you would because there's probably at least one person that had the voice of reason, like, dude, we have got to go. You know what I mean? But then it wouldn't be as like kept as the house was either. You know what I mean? Like there would have
Yeah.
been a struggle for something
Right.
like that
Yeah,
to
you would
happen.
have seen something. And they wouldn't have put towels in the garage to soak
Yeah.
up the
Yeah,
yeah.
there's too much like pre-planned stuff. And then like the lamp in the
Yeah.
garage, like
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's weird. Okay, so the other theory is that it was a personal attack from someone they knew and maybe someone who lived in the neighborhood.
I think it was probably somebody they knew for sure.
Yeah, I think that. I don't know if someone living there.
I don't think it would be somebody living there because I feel like there would be more evidence of their presence if that was the case. You know what I mean? And as far as
Yeah.
like them getting in the house, I don't feel like it would be that big of a deal because everything's unlocked. You said it most likely happened in the morning, so they probably weren't worried about, you know,
Yeah.
having any sort of security or anything going on. They woke up, made their coffee, went outside, sat on their back porch or something and had all their stuff off. So,
Yeah. Yeah, they probably did turn off the alarms and had everything unlocked. So they were able to come in. But yeah, just because of the head beheading, I guess. That seems very personal, like you
for
said, I
sure.
think. So it seems like at least someone who knew them even if they didn't know the person or people.
Yeah, that there's no way that this was random at all. There was definitely some sort of personal connection, for sure.
Yeah. So, um, with it being someone they knew, someone thought maybe it was a disgruntled employee or former employee from one of their franchises.
Okay.
But it's like it had been so long though since
Well,
they
that's
retired.
true. I mean, they retired at that house, right?
Yeah, well, they built that house for their retirement.
Yeah. So when they started
Yeah,
living there, like they weren't working anymore,
right,
correct? Yeah. So
right.
no, that doesn't make any sense.
So it's like
And
20 years.
unless you got some madman working at Wendy's that is just waiting 20 years to exact his revenge. You know what I mean? I don't buy that.
Or, man,
I don't like the way their son said that.
yeah. I don't know which son it was either, though. I was
Yeah.
trying to figure that out, but
You
'cause they
know,
have three.
I hope my mom, so what did he say? Something to the effect of isn't around so
I
she can find
I
peace.
hope she's at peace and didn't have to live through this or something like that.
Yeah, that's weird, man.
Like, didn't have to go through this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is
I don't
weird.
like that. I don't like that at all. And
Okay.
that could be, I mean, I hate to say it, but it happens all the time where, well-off parents are killed by their kids,
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
that is one of the theories that we'll get to. Well, that's the last theory that I'll have, but the disgruntled employee thing, I guess very shortly after this murder, there was another very similar murder in New York because of a lady's like an employee at her franchise killed her and her husband. Like very similar, like where they were an older lady and someone had done that. So I think that's where this theory comes from. That's maybe the same idea, but
Sarah, there are disgruntled employees everywhere that work for franchises that I promise I don't that sound like what is there a network of serial killers through these franchised companies that they just,
yeah, I think people were just like grasping because it happened like very soon after this. So it was
mm.
just weird to people and they just grasped onto it. But
Well,
someone
I mean,
said, oh, yeah.
no, I'm sorry. I mean, this happened in Georgia, then what are you doing? Driving all the way up to fucking New York
Yeah.
to go do the same thing? Like that just go over to fucking North Carolina or Alabama
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
fucking Tennessee. You know what I mean? Like why are you going all the way to New York?
Maybe it worked for both of them. Just
Maybe.
someone, I don't know. Yeah, that's a little crazy. Yeah, someone said it was mistaken identity. There was, so they
So he
wanted to kill someone else.
took his head to make
Hey,
sure.
people are saying because he was shot, maybe they just wanted to take out the bullet casing or whatever yeah,
What?
so they can't trace it back to the gun.
Oh my god.
And they ended up killing Shirley because she was a witness to their mess up of killing Russell on accident. I don't know. Yeah, we can move
No.
on from that.
Well, okay, first of all, anybody that might not know, like if you're going to shoot somebody in the head, the intent is obviously to kill them. If you were that worried about like, oh shit, I don't want my bullet to be traced back, you wouldn't have fucking shot them in the head.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, the last theory is that this was a hired hit, kind of like what we talked about with what was her Goodwin's
Yeah, yeah, Victoria.
or Goodman? Yeah. So, they think it was someone who either had a grudge or it was one of their children to inherit sooner. I don't know. People say their home at that time was valued at $1 million, but like it wasn't because I looked at the real estate history for the house and it was listed in November 2014, 769,000. Maybe it was worth more and then, they died in it, so that brings it down.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, they did own two franchises, so they obviously were doing well. Regardless
Yeah,
of
they had
the
other, yeah.
Yeah. Regardless of the value of the home, that's just part of their total estate that I'm sure that they were going to pass on to their kids.
Yeah,
So
right.
The hired hit thing kind of makes sense, but why the head though? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's very weird.
because if it's a hired hit and you're hiring somebody to kill someone, one, that's really fucked up. Two, if part of the hit is I need evidence of you doing this, want you to bring their head back to me, and they bring you their head back. That's some
Yeah.
sick ass fucking shit.
I mean, that's like movies and like
Right.
cartel and
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like,
really weird.
not that there aren't crazy fucking people that will do that, because there are definitely people in the world that will do that. But if it was a hired hit for you to ask for something like that, that's insane.
Yeah. And again, like why just for Russell? Wouldn't you want to see like Shirley also was dead or
Well, I don't know, man, because I feel like whatever the motive was, it had to have been all towards Russell, because
yeah,
there wasn't anything besides a blunt force blow to the head, like on Shirley. Like
right.
it obviously, like the whole like scared, intimidated, or interviewed, whatever you want to call it, something happened in the garage. That's why the lamp was there. That's why, all that stuff happened.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was way more personal towards Russell, and Shirley just happened to be the bystander that was in the middle of it.
Yeah, and some people said it didn't seem super professional because then she would have been, weighed down more. Like she wouldn't have come up so soon in the lake because they would know how to make sure she stayed submerged or whatever. I don't know.
That's fair, but at the same time, like, disposing of a body in water, like, it's gonna bloat, it's gonna decay faster, it's gonna, like, you're you're playing a risky game, I feel like, when you do that, just because the likelihood of it coming up is relatively high just from the buoyant force of your body.
Right. But why not take her farther away then, since that lake's massive?
Well, they were 6 miles away, so maybe they thought it was far enough
Yeah,
away, or it could have been,
maybe, yeah.
depending on how, like, what wind currents look like there, maybe she did drift a little bit
Mm.
from the original spot.
Yeah, that's true. Well, okay, so their children at the time, though, they seem to all be financially well off. So I mean, I know people could always want more money, but it didn't seem like the motive is there still.
Right.
So they did have four kids, but one had been killed in 2000, which was the oldest son, Mark. So a lot of people think his death connects to theirs.
Oh, so
He was shot three times on his 47th birthday in Atlanta on August 30th, 2000. And he was there to purchase crack cocaine. And at the time, the drug dealer tried to rob him, so that's how he got shot. And a friend was also there who was shot in the leg but survived. And like since his friend was there, they were able to find who did it and put them in jail. But some people think that drug dealer was part of a bigger gang and they were wanting revenge. But again, it's
okay.
like 14 years later, so that seems like a long time still
Yeah,
for
that does seem,
retaliation.
yeah. Well, I mean, you got to think, how busy are those guys that are, selling on the streets? They got other things to do. They had to make some money before, you know.
I guess, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, they're a little bit past Atlanta and stuff, so not the exact same area, but
I don't know if that would make sense though, because I mean, a drug deal gone wrong and you're blaming the father, like that seems weird. You know what I mean?
yeah, right. And I mean, the son's 47, so why would
Yeah. So
you?
why would you even worry about what happened to his dad? Like I don't know.
Yeah,
That doesn't sound right.
yeah. So their other sons, Brad and Keith, they both lived in Florida at the time.
Okay.
And they owned Ramsey Development, which operated fast food restaurants. So they're kind of, doing the same thing their parents did.
Yeah.
Um, their firm employed 700 people and generated more than $14 million in revenue per year when this
So
happened. So it's
yeah, so
like,
they're
yeah. Yeah. And they also had previously owned Dermond Food Services, which they had disbanded in 2001 with like no debt outstanding. So it's like,
Okay. Yeah.
but their daughter, Leslie, she lived in North Carolina at the time, and like I could not find anything about her. And she like does not say anything, like ever. The stuff I
Really?
could find. Yeah. So that's a little weird, but I don't know. I literally couldn't find what she did or if she was making money or had any debts or like nothing. So
That's
it's very
odd.
strange. Yeah.
That's really weird because okay, like the one that was killed by the drug dealer, okay, that makes sense. The other ones that like you can find any information you probably want to on them and then
Yeah.
nothing on her.
No, I couldn't find anything. It took me
Yeah.
like 40 minutes to even find her name
What?
because
Dude,
it just kept saying like they wouldn't say the name and anything.
that's wild. That's a big
Yeah.
red flag.
Yeah. So
So, if I
I
was a
don't know.
betting man, that would be my bet. That
Yeah.
seems really odd.
Yeah, like it was weird that because all these newspapers, dug into what the guys did and if they had any outstanding debts, and I couldn't find anything about her.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, they did all pass polygraph tests though, but you
Yeah, that
can
don't,
fake that. Yeah.
especially if you're a psychopath, which clearly whoever did this is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So in 2023, there was new DNA found off of
Okay.
Russell's shirt, which I would assume they referenced with the kids, and it doesn't match, I would assume.
Or the cameras weren't working.
Yeah. But the police are also using cell phone data, like with geofencing,
Hmm.
to try
Yeah.
and narrow down people then. I don't know. Is that newer? Like, I don't think that's that new. Why didn't
I
they do
don't
it before now?
I don't know. I don't think it is like super new, but I don't think it's anything that was ever really I could be wrong. I think since the advent of, towers and cell phones and stuff like that, that's part of what they do to find people in these sorts of things.
Right.
So I don't think it's like a super new thing, but I'm sure they've been doing it since the mid 2000s. I'm can almost guarantee that to some
Yeah.
degree.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the only time I've heard about it was when I was having issues in 2022, I guess, or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
So I guess that's close to maybe that is more people could use it at that point or something versus like 2014,
Yeah,
maybe.
maybe.
But yeah, there's no new information from those two things. So, but it is still an open investigation. And they have raised the reward to $25,000 for any information that could lead to an arrest or does lead to an arrest, I guess. So the
Yeah.
FBI is offering 20,000 and the Putnam County Sheriff's Office is adding 5,000. So,
Well, that's wild, man. I don't know, like you never I'm sure it happens all the time, but you don't hear about people getting away with shit like that anymore.
yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it was only 10 years ago or 11 years ago, but
well, still, I mean, that it sounds like because I mean, back in the day, if there was a murder that happened, like you would, maybe cut off their head or cut off their hands so you couldn't identify them. So nobody knew
right.
because you didn't have fingerprints or you couldn't see their face anymore, obviously. So it's like, well, we just have a body. We don't know who it belongs to. So
Yeah.
that was one of the easiest ways to get away with it. And I'm talking like way back. I'm not talking, 20 years ago, you know, but I don't know. Extremely personal. I don't like that you can't find anything on the daughter at all.
Yeah,
I feel
that's weird.
like I feel like it was either someone they know or it was some sort of hit for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, the daughter's suspicious to me. That seems weird. I'm also not sure what order she's in, like if she's the youngest
Oh,
or,
oh yeah.
whatever,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I feel like with the two sons like going with the parent what the parents did and then the other
Mhm.
son died, then I feel like she was like overlooked maybe or
That's kind of what I was thinking. You have all the success stories about the other two sons and, you know, here she
yeah.
is. So, could be a little bit of
Yeah,
animosity, but who knows?
maybe.
So,
Yeah, that's weird. But hopefully they find something with that DNA, that new DNA.
Yeah. Well, hopefully if they do, we'll have to do a follow-up for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So actually, you know what? We're gonna have to like. There's a few that we've done that we're gonna probably have to do some follow-ups on here with new information and stuff like that. Maybe we'll just do like a grab bag episode of like all the follow-ups and like do like little 10, 15-minute segments or whatever.
Yeah, that would be good.
So
Yeah.
all right. Well, listeners, if that little grab bag thing sounds awesome, let us know in the comments. Send us an email at paranoidperspectivepodcast@gmail.com. Let us know if that's something you would be interested in. But hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you guys do have any information, we'll have links down below where you can report anything like that. Check us out wherever you're listening to this. Make sure you give us a review if you can do that. Like the podcast, any piece of media that you're seeing, like, comment, share, all that good stuff. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/the Paranoid Perspective Podcast, and have some extra perks over there for you. And as always,
Remember, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not watching. See you next time on The Paranoid Perspective.